Thank you for tuning in to V News. You're watching the bulletins. Coming up next are our top stories.
Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng meets with World Economic Forum Managing Director. Vietnam-Russia friendship space flight celebrated. German photographer blurs the lines between authenticity and imitation in a unique exhibition.
Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng has suggested the World Economic Forum actively cooperate with Vietnam in promoting the country's image and encouraging big groups to invest in the Southeast Asian nation.
The Prime Minister made the suggestion during his meeting with the World Economic Forum's Managing Director, Philip Rosler, in Hanoi on July 22nd. He hailed recent progress in cooperation between Vietnam and the World Economic Forum. He said Vietnam always attaches importance to cooperation with the organization and actively participates in its activities. He proposed that the organization assist Vietnam in improving its competitiveness, business environment, and boosting sustainable agriculture. Philip Rosler praised Vietnam's socio-economic achievements. He thanks the country for its contributions to the forum's activities. He affirmed that the organization will closely coordinate with Vietnam to promote the country's image. The same day, Philip Rosler was received by Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Phạm Bình Minh, who expressed his wish that the organization would make further contributions to enhancing the public-private partnership in global economic issues.
A conference took place in the Mekong city of Cần Thơ on July 22nd to discuss ways to boost economic growth and poverty reduction in the northwestern, central highlands and southwestern regions.
Deputy Prime Minister Nguyễn Xuân Phúc told the event that improving the life of border residents is a critical mission of local party committees and authorities in the northwest, central highlands and southwest regions. Deputy Prime Minister Phúc, who is also chairman of the steering committee for the Northwest region, noted the poverty and limited education level of border residents along with underdeveloped infrastructure in the areas. He highlighted programs initiated by ministries and localities to boost local socio-economic development, while requesting additional attention on overhauling existing programs and policies. Deputy Prime Minister Vũ Văn Ninh, chairman of the steering committee for the Southwest region, asked local authorities and steering committees to actively propose measures to improve local livelihoods, especially in border areas, and foster economic development.
The Vietnam-Russia Friendship Association and the Military Technical Academy held a ceremony in Hanoi on July 22nd to celebrate the 35th anniversary of the Vietnam-Russia Friendship spaceflight mission. Addressing the ceremony, Chairman of the Vietnam-Russia Friendship Association Đào Trọng Thị underlined the traditional 65-year friendship between Vietnam and Russia. He also highlighted the establishment of the comprehensive strategic partnership between Vietnam and Russia in spite of international changes. The two countries were built on positive momentum of the friendship flight 35 years ago to bring cooperation in space aviation between Vietnam and Russia to a new height, he added. Cosmonaut of the former Soviet Union Viktor Vasilievich Gorbatko, who undertook the mission 35 years ago, described the spaceflight missions as a historical milestone of the friendship between the two nations. Cosmonaut Lieutenant General Phạm Tuân shared his memories of the thrill that he felt when he saw the country's shape from the flight. The aerospace flight of the Union 37 spaceship mission, with cosmonauts Phạm Tuân and Viktor Gorbatko aboard from July 23 to 31, 1980, became a historical event and the pride of the two nations. The latest developments and policy options in the East Sea were at the heart of a recent conference in Washington, D.C. Organized by the Center for Strategic and International Studies, the fifth annual function drew experts from Vietnam, China, the Philippines, and the U.S., among others. Panels addressed recent developments in the East Sea, legal issues, and strategic balance, and engaged in a crisis simulation. Two hot issues highlighted at the four-day event were the Philippines' lawsuit against China to the UN Permanent Court of Arbitration and China's illegal construction of artificial islands in the East Sea. Daniel Russell, U.S. Assistant Secretary of State for East Asian and Pacific Affairs, said any disputes must be solved via diplomatic solutions and in line with international law. Travel time between Vietnam's Mekong Delta city of Cần Thơ and Thailand's Bangkok capital city will be shortened as an air route connecting the two localities has been launched. Viet Travel, a local travel agency, will use chartered flights operated by Thai Vietjet Air to fly passengers from Cần Thơ city and other Mekong Delta provinces to Thailand. There is one flight every 5 days with ticket prices starting at $123 for a one-way ticket. The launch of the route is also expected to help Cần Thơ promote its tourism to Thai visitors. The Cần Thơ International Airport served 225,000 passengers in the first half of 2015, up 72%, a far cry from its designed capacity of 3 million passengers a year. Textile and garment exports to the U.S. are likely to reach $11 billion this year, said an official of the Vietnam Garment and Apparel Association. Đặng Phương Dung, Vice Chairwoman of the Vietnam Garment and Apparel Association, said the figure may double after the signing of the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement, which will benefit businesses with tariff cuts for imports. Vietnam's garment and textile products normally are levied import duties of 15 to 16%. However, the taxes will be cut down to 7 to 8% after the country joins the pact and the products meet the requirements of origin. Currently, the U.S. is the biggest importer of Vietnamese garment and textile products, consuming about half of the total exports. Garment and textile exports to the American market have increased sharply over the past 2 decades, hitting $9.8 billion last year. The Central Province of Thanh Hóa has recommended the Ministry of Transport upgrade the Thọ Xuân Airport and bring it up to international standards to deal with the increasing number of passengers. Thọ Xuân Airport, which went into operation in 2013, received more than 90,000 passengers in its first year, which increased 78% to 160,000 in 2014. The figure climbed to 280,000 in the first half of this year and is estimated to reach 400,000 by year's end, continuing to skyrocket in future years. The rapid increases are attributed to the escalating number of tourists to Thanh Hóa province and new investment projects. As such, upgrading the Thọ Xuân Airport into an international airport is quickly becoming an urgent need. Enterprises in Ho Chi Minh City, the country's southern economic hub, will have 27,000 available jobs in August. Let's take a look. The Ho Chi Minh City Centre for Forecasting Manpower Needs and Labour Market Information said that manpower demand is concentrated in the IT, garment textiles, footwear and leather sectors, and the real estate, logistics and sales industries. Employment opportunities are highest for unskilled labour and graduates or postgraduates, accounting for 30% and 28% of the total job offers respectively. The demand for technicians follows closely at 25%. The Southern Hub's labour market increased its recruitment need in July by 17% from the previous month, with a focus on new staff in the sales, logistics, IT and service sector. Gaps between manpower supply and demand are occurring in a range of sectors, including IT, garment textiles, finance banking and real estate. Using techniques of superimposition and photo montage, German photographer Matthias Meyer has blurred the lines between authenticity and imitation in a unique exhibition you won't want to miss. Join us and see how the spirit of Hanoi and Paris were married in his photos. Rickshaw man waiting for customers on a Parisian street. Workers with conical hats relaxing at a Paris fountain, yet under swaying willow trees in Hoàn Kiếm Lake. Viewers might get lost in the exhibition Disorientation, a Small Paris in Hanoi. The exhibition showcases Meyer's art project that he began in 2011. He has been using the double exposure photography method to discover and present the coexistence of different cultures in the cityscapes of Hanoi and Paris.
I lived in Paris for 5 years, from the 90s to 95, and when I first came to Hanoi, I looked for a theme, what I can do as a photographer. And there are so many images about Vietnam and Hanoi that it was really difficult to get something unique. And the first thing I thought was Long Bien Bridge, and was reminding from the structure of the Eiffel Tower. And then I said, okay, let's do something about Paris and Hanoi.
The combination of negative space, color and contrast in the photographs emphasized the architectonical heritage and the nostalgic relationship between Paris and Hanoi, which has captured the interest of spectators. Double exposure is certainly not a new technique in photography. I myself had tried this technique, but I was amazed at how clever Meyer was to combine the beautiful images of architecture, culture, and people of the two urban worlds. After 4 years living in Hanoi, Meyer used his camera to connect to the well-portrayed city of Hanoi, which he called his new hometown. In a unique way, the imaginative artist has created his own side of Hanoi, bringing a fresh look for photo lovers to discover the familiar yet unusual corners of the heritage city. The exhibition will run until July 26 at the Goethe Institute in Hanoi. An exhibition is underway in the northern province of Quảng Ninh as the designated date for supporting Agent Orange dioxin victims, August 10th, is approaching.
Running through August 14, the exhibition presents an overview of the chemical warfare disaster, examples of victims overcoming difficulties, and the fight for justice for Agent Orange victims, among others. Detoxification models and handicrafts made by affected communities are also on display. The event contributes to raising public awareness in Vietnam and abroad about part of the U.S. war aftermath and how the nation has handled it. It helps trigger a greater international response in favor of the ongoing fight for justice. On the occasion, the Vietnam Association of Victims of Agent Orange or Dioxin presented 10 wheelchairs to victims and over $4,500 to a fund for production activities of the organization chapter in Quảng Ninh. From the beginning of the Operation Rent Hand on August 10, 1961 to 1971, the U.S. troops placed 80 million liters of herbicides, including the Agent Orange with dioxin, accounting for up to 61% on 3 million hectares of forest in southern Vietnam. The chemical war made about 6.8 million Vietnamese people exposed to the Agent Orange. Hundreds of thousands of them died, while the others and their descendants are day and night struggling against diseases as after effects of the toxic chemical.
The Russian ballet theatre Thalarium at Lodz, Ballet and Light will stage a special performance of the classic ballet Swan Lake with 3D animated graphics in Hanoi on August 1st. Choreographed by Marina Yurievna Alexandrova and Yuri Anatolievich Romashko, former principal dancers at the Bolshoi Theatre, the ballet will feature principal dancers E. Nebeshnaya and S. Shminov, with more than 100 other performers. According to the vice director of the Thalarium at Lodz Theatre, Sergei Baturin, the theatre wishes to add more vitality to its classical ballets with the 3D graphics. Based on a Russian folk tale, Swan Lake tells the story of Odette, a princess who was turned into a swan by an evil sorcerer. Composed in 1875, it is considered one of the most technically and emotionally challenging ballads of all time, but also one of the most loved. In Hanoi, the ballet will be presented at the My Đình National Convention Hall. And that was the end of our news bulletin. As always, we aim to bring you the latest events of the day. We hope to see you again soon.